Would you rather be dead? No. Would you rather die here? No. What did you want to be, Raymond K. Hessel? The question, Raymond, was what did you want to be?
Answering, Raymond. Jesus.
Get up, get up, come on, son, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, come on, son, get up.
Stop for a second.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, guys? Trail 7 Reactions. I'm hanging. I wanted to do a little bit different, not a music video. One of my favorite artists of all time is Tupac. I loved his passion. I loved his aggression. I loved his soft side. I loved his politics. I loved his no politics. And there's this interview that I hear. It sounds like it's on Sway, but I'm not really sure. So I'm not going to immediately assume I know which one this is until we start playing it. But for real, like, I love listening to Tupac's interviews. Like, I would sit back, I was like 18 in 96, and I would listen to him. Like, I had heard him before All Eyes on Me, but you know, then he got popular and whatnot. But like, I had listened to his lyrics and his albums like with a fine-tooth comb and really learned a lot, you know, through him. And still, these interviews are timeless to this day. He speaks about things that are still happening, you know, or that he spoke about things that it like almost you were like, yo, what time period was he in? This was back in the 90s. He was talking about these things, and you know, we're gonna get into that. So as one of my favorite artists, I think I've done a couple Tupac songs and interviews before on this channel, but you know, every once in a while I want to do a different one. I did an Ice Cube one. I think I did Michael Jordan. I just like doing interviews sometimes instead of music video reactions, and sometimes I'm doing comedy now too. So if you got some links you want to share with me, let me know. Some things you feel that are really interesting to you, some interviews and things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and listen to this interview. There's no video for it, it's just all audio, but I'm gonna go ahead and pay attention and get a good listen going.
Hey, we back chilling with Tupac. This man is multimedia. Not only is he a recording artist, he's also an actor. But before we get into the acting, I want to say, how did you first get down with Suge Knight and Death Row?
Suge, I used to always see Suge. When they did the soundtrack for Murder Was the Case, it was when I was going through all those legal problems, and he was like, yo, give me a song, dog. And I was like, yeah, you can get whatever you want. You know, gave him a song. And it was like the most I ever got for a soundtrack. I mean, the most I ever got for a song. It was damn near album budget. I mean, I think I got like something like 200,000 or 150,000 for one song. Wow. And the song, they didn't even use it, but I still got paid. You know what I mean? I got paid for everything I did on the soundtrack. And I think I did like 2 songs or something. And I remember when he did it like, yo, it wasn't even like because he was jocking me. He did it because he knew I was having crazy legal problems. And I was a man. He had asked me to come to Death Row, and I was like, I ain't ready.
That's one of the times I thought Pac made a mistake. Right, he had seen the height of his success through Death Row Records, but like he almost sold himself to Death. People would say he did sold himself to Death Row, and then they just pimped him. Like that's because he had spoke about being pimped. It's like a certain level of pimping that you just okay with because of the situation you're in and whatnot. So like he was grooming in a way, setting him up for what was coming next. Like, I'm about to have you on a contract with Death Row. I'm gonna throw you some money, but I'm gonna show you how it's gonna, you know, you're gonna reciprocate by working for me and putting out these albums. And kind of hung up his politics because the money. And I think that's what a lot of artists end up doing. They hang up their politics if they came up, you know, being real proactive, and then all of a sudden, like, they get big and the label says, listen, I don't want you doing this, I want you doing that. He did the politics of the labels and the politics of like beefing with Biggie and things like that, but I think he hung up a lot of the politics that he was trying to address before this album, you know, All Eyes on Me, before being signed to Death Row with Strictly and Me Against the World and you know, what he was talking about in Tupacalypse Now. I think he kind of got away from that, but then Machiavelli kind of started to get back into that stuff, you know, in different ways. But
and instead of like taking it personal, he just did that for me, and I appreciated that. So when I'm in jail and I'm sitting there, what made me do the Death Row thing, because I was really gonna quit rapping, but then Puffy and Biggie and all that came out in the vibe, and they lied and they twisted the facts, and all I wanted to do was end everything. Yo, all I wanted to do was end everything and walk away from shit. You know what I mean? Like how Scarface and all them niggas do. I want to get out the game. I'm trying to get out the game. They want to dirty up my memory. They want to dirty up everything I worked for. So it made me come back. Instead of quitting, it made me come back more relentless. To destroy what in fact is my comrades. To destroy what used to be my homeboys, what I worked for, my closest clique. You know what I mean? I worked hard all my life as far as this music business to make the East Coast, West Coast love and make everybody feel comfortable. And I dreamed of the days when I can go to New York and be comfortable and they can come out here and be comfortable. So it's not like when people say, why are you doing it in East Coast? It's not like it's not silly at all. But you can't disrespect the love. You can't disrespect.
I think that's just like I'm saying, I think that's where you made your mistake, man. Like if I could talk to him today, that's what I would say. I'd be like, you trusted Death Row in a time when you were most in need, and that's like when you're at your most vulnerable point is when it'll take advantage of you. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Suge did and saw that, and you were ready to hang up the rap game, but I don't think you were going to be hanging up the politics. And you could have made yourself come out in a better light without going back and attacking them. That's how they brought you back in. I wish sometimes what I say to myself is I wish I would have seen Pac had he not made that choice, and just kept going. And people will often say like, who's the next Pac and things like that. And there's no next Pac, but there are artists that should be continuing what he started, not from All Eyes on Me, but continue what he started before that, where his attitude in politics and passion was going towards a different direction, being more positive, to where most, people would say that he was negative, but it's just however you feel what those lyrics mean to you. Some people could say they're negative. He could just be speaking from where he's coming from, but I think he could have done a lot of things politically or socially had he continued that direction versus coming back to make music. I don't remember. None of us really knew that. We just heard Tupac. He put out Me Against the World, and then he was gone for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he was out, and All Eyes on Me came out. We were just all blown away by the double album, and then he had dissed Biggie, and it blew up from there, right?
Peace treaty. That's just like when the Indians made deals with the white dudes, and they would just come and rape their women and shoot them up and then leave. No, the Indians ain't gonna love disrespect the peace treaty. That's just like when the Indians made deals at all. But you can't disrespect the love. You can't disrespect the peace treaty. That's just like when the Indians made deals with the white dudes and they would just come and rape their women and shoot them up and then leave.
Yeah, that is not the same, dude. You made a deal with some people that didn't have your best interest in mind, and they pulled you back in. They didn't disrespect no peace treaty. You got pulled back into something that you shouldn't have. I love Tupac, right? My favorite artist of all time, but you got to be real, and he's gone. He can't defend himself, but this is a big part of what brought him his demise, and crazy. I wish it would have been more for the politics versus some record label beef. You know what I mean? Like had he stood up for, things that he had spoke about, would he have been a leader and then killed because of his what he was standing for? And I think he still would have been a legend, but I don't think as big. Who knows? I don't know.
No, the Indians ain't gonna love white people no more. They gonna want to kick up some dust until we think about it and renegotiate the terms of the treaty. And that's what I'm talking about.
That's where y'all at
Pac
right
said,
now.
I'm trying to
We gotta have this
renegotiate.
beef and this war and these words and this dialogue until we can renegotiate the terms of the treaty. I love the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast. But they have to understand that you can't just be saying shit about us and think that we're not gonna take it personal. You can't just be calling us fakers and pretenders and non-creative motherfuckers and we can't freestyle and this and that and this and think we just gonna be like, oh, well, that's cool, we love them because they started it. Hell no, we gonna take it personal, just like a kid would when his bigger brother who ain't doing shit is all of a sudden, that's just like the
Pac
bigger
had
brother
so
making hella
many-
cash and the bigger brother's like,
Pac had so many wild metaphors, and he's trying to defend it, but that's not starting a beef like that because you felt like you were just the younger brother, or like that. You had to respond to some people talking shit about you. Like you could, but that's crazy. I'd never heard this before. I never knew the justification of why he decided to go at some people. and what if Puffy knew what he was doing? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Like you owe it all to me. That's wrong. You know what I mean? Don't be mad because the little nigga's coming up. You know what I mean?
Now, do you think the East Coast West Coast rivalry is like both coasts, or because a lot of people think it's
This isn't Sway. My bad. This is that interviewer, whoever's interviewing. He's like, a lot of this East Coast West Coast thing. You know, this is the interview that was on Machiavelli, and he was like, and to live and it was right before To Live and Die in L.A. Oh, what a good song.
more Bad Boy Death Row?
It's not both coasts. What it is was that the East Coast, the people on the East Coast are real proud, real cultural, and real strong, just like we are on the West Coast. And so what happened was Biggie came at a time, just like what Hitler did with the Jews. Biggie came at a time when they were open to somebody saying, we're the master race, and these guys are nothing, and they're pretenders. And
Here it goes again with that wild metaphor. Biggie coming out is like when Hitler used to... Bro, I get what he's saying. Like, they were just open to hearing, and he's saying their negative perspective of him was going to drive people to not like him anymore. And that's just him being worried about it. You shouldn't have been so worried about that, man, because that just... Damn. Yeah, I never heard this before.
this is why we not making it in the business, because of these guys. This is why we not doing nothing, because of these guys. So the East Coast really not hating us, really not knowing nothing about us, but just listening to their supposed to be leader. You know, listening to the person that was representing for them. Like, yeah, okay, well, Biggie, you know, he from Brooklyn, woo, woo, woo. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. And so all of a sudden people saying stuff that they didn't even know was what they was doing was like ending our culture when we started. We held it down for y'all. That's how I felt. I was in tears, like what? When y'all was out there on some, when LL was dancing with women in silver suits and niggas was on some other shit, which I'm not mad at because I might do that one day. And I love them niggas, you know what I mean? But I'm saying when you was being creative and wanting to try.
And he did. He ended up dancing in silver suits in the Hit 'Em Up video, and he was all like, yeah, I remember that.
Boundaries. We was holding it down with this hardcore shit.
Yeah. Was it the Hit 'Em Up video, or was it the Casey and JoJo one? I forget which one it was when they were in like this shiny suits and stuff. But yeah, he's not hating, but he's making a justification that like they were trying to pounce on what they were trying to do out in the West Coast. And Pac's from the East Coast and went to the West Coast. The West Coast was doing their thing anyway. They had all sorts of artists out there. Honestly, like listening to Pac got me more into the West Coast because I think he exposed me to more of the, like all the death row stuff. But like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, that came all before Pac. DJ Quick was out there. You know, there was a lot of West Coast artists, Dilated Peoples, and there was a lot of West Coast artists that were just doing it before Pac. So it wasn't like he was just like holding it down for the West Coast. I think he just brought a lot of attention to it because he was claiming the West Coast, but he was also saying he was from the East Coast. So he had a little conundrum going on there, you know, going at the East Coast, that's where you were born. And then, you know, you moved to the Midwest and then out to Cali. I don't know.
It might not have been what you wanted, but it kept rap alive for years. It kept money coming in.
Okay, that's what he's saying. It might not be what you wanted, but that's not on you to go talking shit back to them because you think that, you know, they weren't respecting your part. I don't know. That's what I think he's saying.
Let them notice us. So how could you look at us now and be like, this ain't good enough? You know what I mean? We the broken home. Y'all ain't teach us this. We ain't come from we ain't got no subways or graffiti. We learned this, I mean, in spite of the gangs, in spite of all of that, we came up with this culture. You know what I mean? So I felt like we never got what we deserved. And I took it personal because I'm from the East Coast and I know about that culture, but I know about this culture because I was here when it was being put down. So now I'm doing what the East Coast would have did if the West Coast did this to the East Coast. I'm riding for my side. You know what I mean? You wrong. This is not right. Recognize us. And
You're
the only way
wrong,
the East
bro.
Coast gonna recognize us is for us to do it on records, by money, by sales.
He could have put all this passion and drive into politics and social justice and things like that because he was passionate about that. He could have been riding for a different cause. Instead, he was riding against the same cause, like music. You know what I mean? You're just gonna I never heard this before, and I totally disagree with him. Like, he's just wild. Justification.
KRS-One. When PM Dawn got on stage and he had talk shit about him, what did KRS-One do? So why are people telling me I'm wrong for doing what I'm doing?
Because you got to learn.
They love KRS-One. He is hip-hop, am I correct?
That's true.
Right, so I'm hip-hop.
gotta
I'm
be
mad at
better
Biggie,
than
I'm
that.
rushing the nigga. What's the problem?
That's real.
East Coast separate themselves from Biggie. We'll do shows in the East. Everything is beautiful. But so far, the East Coast been with every all interviews I read, every letter I read. Niggas is like, fuck Tupac, Biggie this, Biggie, like.
He got mad, big mad.
East Coast. So that's why I attack as though I do, because I'm a general and I'm a smart general. And I'm not gonna attack no blind soldiers. I'm attacking those attacking me. Only reason people was mad now is because I came out of jail and made this shit a reality. When I got out of jail, the West Coast, East Coast shit was really started. California love what I was saying, put it down. And now them niggas is mad because money is fucked up. Attitudes have changed. It's not as safe as it used to be. Niggas gotta think about their business steps, and that's what I wanted to happen. Now let's go to the table. Let's talk. Let's make peace. Let's work it out. Let's get a community the money.
All right.
So you saying with a conversation with guys like...
So he was trying to take... All right. Well, at the end of that right there, let's get the community the money. Like he was saying, like, let's eat off of all this. But I don't see how that was even a reasonable thought, man. Like you saying you started it all. You know, you started the whole thing, and I don't even think you can move around and represent where you're from, but like, you just got there and you're just claiming it like you're riding, like to ride till you die. You just got there and you know all about the West Coast culture because you lived there for a certain amount of time. It's like, that's crazy to me that like this whole thing started off of something like that, some ego driven statement, you know, like where he could have been so much more in another realm. Like he could have taken this passion and thinking he hadn't gotten what was his and put it in another form and like made a because he comes from family like that was very political and active, you know what I mean? Like, and I just think that music wasn't touching it. He wasn't speaking through the music. He was a little bit, but not when this all happened. When this all happened, money came. And he might have had some good intentions. You know, at the end, it says he'd get the money to the community, but I don't think he made good decisions, you know, as far as his music came after. And I was a big fan of it, you know what I mean? I was out there, you know, with All Eyes on Me. And then when he passed, Machiavelli, and all the mixtapes that came out after that, you know, with This Is Pac, and he thought he's not dead. And I used to get so many mixtapes from the flea markets before all this, you know, like way back. But I just don't think that was a good decision at all.
Puffy, Biggie, and that whole East Coast.
Sit down and conversate with Puffy or Biggie because that's like Scarface sitting down with the dude he overthrew. You know what I mean? They not on my level, but I can sit down with the OGs from there, which we are doing. People don't even know we not beefing with the East Coast. We starting Death Row East with Eric B, all the OG niggas out there from the East Coast. We got Kane, Christopher Williams, all these artists. We trying to get Bobby Brown.
That
all
never
these artists,
happened.
We trying to put the
That
East
never
Coast
happened.
Death Row just like the West Coast Death Row.
You
And
fucked
make
it up,
major.
man.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
Right, but we not doing that until we get this business settled. And even while we doing that, we trying to get the Wu-Tang niggas, because I love them niggas. I feel as though they represent the East Coast,
no
how we
way.
represent the West Coast.
No, that would have never been a thing. You talking about the Wu-Tang on Death Row Records? I don't know if he's talking about getting them on Death Row Records, but he's talking about Wu-Tang. I would not have seen that. Would have never been a thing. I've never heard Wu-Tang speak on Pop, but I don't think that they even supported what he was talking about here and like getting this beef going. And he took it too far, man, to the other side for no reason.
I love them. You know what I mean? So that's what we trying to do. We doing it like if everybody raps is what they really think, then everybody should understand what I'm doing, because it's gangster shit number one, it's war shit number two, and it's all by the rules of the game. You know what I mean? I'm doing shit, I'm calling for dialogue. I'm gathering attention for dialogue, which is what you do in a struggle for power.
That's real. That's real. We still chilling with Tupac. It's intense. I love this, brother. I like this. My man keeping it real. We're going to come back with more Tupac.
All right, yo, so that was 7 minutes talking about no peace treaty. That tells me that that was around the time when they get the East-West Coast beef going. And he was talking like he was trying to sit and talk and have some kind of peace treaty, but he declared war, man, like, and on a whole coast. You know, you were like, anybody from New York want to bring it. We ain't singing, we bringing drama. F you and your mama. Like, he was calling out everybody, like Mobb Deep, Chino XL. Like, he's talking about all these like OG heads in the game, and then here he is calling out a whole coast. Anybody from New York. You're from New York and you're hollering at New York, man. Damn, bro. again, Pac's one of my favorite artists. I loved his passion. I loved his attitude, his peaceful side, his soft side, his politics, and I think he would have gone super far in his politics, but he just he made that decision to do what he did here, and just wasn't thinking about it like he should have been, man. I don't know why. If you have a different opinion about it, let me know. Usually on my videos, I'm like, yo, yeah, I understand you, Pac. Like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. And people have to tell me, like, no, yo, Pac, you don't understand. Pac was this, Pac was that. And this interview helps a little bit where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not really on your side on this one, bro. Yeah, So anyway, all right. Shout out to everybody that's been following the page or the channel. I really appreciate you guys. I feel like I'm doing really good. Like, my goal is to get 1,000 in the next 6 months. I got 500 in a year. So that was one of my goals. I kind of felt like I was on a good, and I did it like towards the end of it. I think January is when I hit that 500. I really appreciate it. So thank you. Comment and subscribe if you want to have a conversation with me. Subscribe to the channel if I have some other things you might like. I got tons of playlists. So make suggestions if you want. Any Tupac interviews or any other interviews you think I should check out, let me know. All right, thanks for checking me out. Peace.
Look, the people you are after are the people you depend on. We cook your meals, we haul your trash, we connect your calls, we drive your ambulances, we guard you while you sleep. Do not